Welcome back to American Agenda. Well, President Biden's agenda hangs in the balance in today's voting. There's a lot going on. We've seen a number of things, Heather. We have seen the Senate vote to go ahead and allow the government funding until December 3rd of this year.
Yes.
But the House has to take that up. But the House has not been able to solidify any plans to get through their wish list of spending, which would amount to $3.5 trillion. And if they pass that, then they were going to bring up the other $1.2 trillion for infrastructure. So far, no progress on that.
Yeah, we talked to a congressman just yesterday who said that the price tag is actually closer to, all said and done, $5.5 trillion. You know, how will they pay for it? Who's going to vote yes? Who's going to vote no? And as I was kind of alluding to earlier, Bob, I really think that maybe it's just a lot of show. And I think ultimately all of the Democrats will come on board and they will pass both through reconciliation.
Yeah, and on the other side, you have Republicans that don't want to go that route, including Jim Jordan, the congressman who joined us just moments ago. We asked them, what would you like to come out of this? And he said nothing. And that's the point. A lot of people are looking at this and saying our economy is expanding at a 6.5 rate. Now, next year it's going to be lower than that because we had to bounce back from what happened during the pandemic. But it's still going to be in the 3s. So why do you need to keep spending money that could be inflationary anyway? And there are a lot of people saying we don't need to. And the Democrats make it sound like the world is going to go to you-know-where if we don't get this stuff passed.
Yeah, that's what we just heard Jen Psaki saying earlier, actually, when she was asked about it. And I think the bottom line is that Democrats see 2022 approaching very quickly, and they believe that if they just give people free stuff, then they will get the votes that they need as we head into the midterms.
That's what they think. So let's get some reaction from CEO of Starnes Media Group, Todd Starnes, and host of Stacy on the Right, Stacy Washington. Stacy, I'll start with you. Your thoughts?
Well, I mean, so I was listening to you and Heather, Bob, you're talking about the Democrats thinking about 2022. And I have to say, you know, they should be thinking about it. But instead of thinking about it from the perspective of let's just give people free stuff, can they take for consideration just for a moment, here in the state of Missouri, for example, we have just passed through a Republican legislature Medicaid expansion, and that was actually taken to the vote by the will of the people. So Democrats dominated that and brought us Medicaid expansion, which is a Democrat thing. And then we also have a gas tax here that's going to take our local gas tax all over the state of Missouri from 17 cents a gallon to 29 cents a gallon. And the only way you can avoid it is to save every receipt, make photocopies of them, and file on an online database that they're going to create so that you can get your money back. So Americans all over the country are facing draconian policies at the local level, and the Democrats at the federal level think the best thing to do is increase our taxes so they can give us little bits of money back from the federal government. It's a horrible plan. It's a horrible idea. And I just wish for once the Democrats would look back over their own history and see how badly voters have disapproved of these policies in the past.
Yeah, I do think they are definitely paying attention to a lot of polls out there right now, Todd, and it's showing that President Biden is polling low in every single category historically.
Well, Heather, I think that Republicans as well should be looking towards 2022. And I say, shut it down, shut it down, shut it down. It's a great day for American taxpayers when the government is not at work taking our money, stealing our money. But the reality here is that Joe Biden, or Joe Manchin, rather, the senator from West Virginia, has done probably the best job of everyone of explaining what the issue here is. And Joe Manchin explaining that we are living in an entitlement generation now, and we cannot keep giving money to people just because they feel like they're entitled. And he brought up something that is truly fascinating. The Associated Press listed this story as one of its oddities. But here outside of the Beltway, here in the heartland, in the Mid-South, we're talking about this story, and it's not an oddity. The idea that Dollar Tree now has to raise its prices, so Dollar Tree is no longer Dollar Tree, it's $2 Tree or $3 Tree. That is going to have a profound impact on the American people and voters, and people better pay attention to this in Washington, D.C. Good for Joe Manchin.
However, if I could just pick on Joe Manchin for a minute, he has a history of capitulating. He has a history. I'm not saying he can be bought, but some money ended up in West Virginia last time, right? And his wife ended up doing pretty well from that. You've got him saying he would go along with $1.5 trillion. Well, how about nothing? He would go along with $1.2 trillion in the infrastructure. Now, if you can get a bipartisan agreement, it did pass the House. If you can do that in the House, okay, then maybe everybody gets to take something at home. But remember also, Todd, you've got the progressives saying $3.5 trillion is not enough.
Oh, and beyond that, I mean, you've got the Democrats wanting to fund everything in the planet in this plan, including Afghan refugees. We're looking at millions of illegal aliens that are coming across the border. And if we're to believe Senator Marco Rubio, we have 120,000 more on the way. We're all having to take care of these folks. And look, the bottom line is we all understand what's about to happen here. Our taxes are about to go through the roof. But think about this, guys. I was on a road trip over the weekend from Tennessee to Georgia. I was stunned by the number of restaurants, gas stations, convenience stores that had to shut down early because they can't find people that want to go to work.
Right.
We've got a problem. It's called laziness. And this government is responsible for creating a generation of lazy, entitled people. And that is a very dangerous thing for this country, guys.
Yeah. Stacy, I'm wondering, what do you think about I think it was 15 Republicans in the Senate who agreed to move forward with the continuing resolution and allowing that to pass 65 to 35?
So
I think was the number.
15 people who need to be sent back home to their districts permanently.
Right.
We're seeing nurses and we're seeing employees at the airline industry, people in hard-to-fill jobs, doctors, nurses. These are serious professions. And these people are being let go because they're not receiving the vaccine on a schedule that their employer is telling them to adopt. So why would senators be above being fired themselves? So I just encourage people to remember, every time you're looking in the mirror, you're looking at the person who holds the highest office in the land, and that is citizen. In a representative republic, these people work for us. The White House belongs to us. The Rayburn office building belongs to us. The Eisenhower Executive Office Complex, also us. So when people go there and they make decisions like these 15 senators have done, they're asking for you to respond. Respond by not voting them back in. We don't need Republicans in name only. We need people who understand the Republican Party platform, who've read it recently, since 2016, and who actually want to adhere to it. If they don't want to do that, adhere to the Democrat Party platform and go and work for them. But stop straddling the fence. Stop voting for things that Americans on the right don't want. Represent your constituents.
All right. Stacy Washington, Todd, stand by. We're not done with you just yet.